Hello, good morning. Hi, viewer. Welcome back to my channel. This is a video regarding the difference or what are the differences between same kind of currency, renminbi, but it's being named differently uh, in different locations. So sometimes you hear about the term CNH. They call this currency called CNH. Sometimes they call this currency CNY. So today this video is regarding a very detailed explanation regarding why there are two names for the same currency. And just for your information, if you look at my YouTube channel, you will see this video being presented or uploaded twice. One will be in Chinese or Mandarin. I will explain the concept in Chinese. This video I'll use English to explain this concept. Now, so back to this CNH and CNY. So a lot of people, when I ask them, do you know the difference? Any differences between these two names? And I also look at some other video clip. I think with my background, I do have some responsibility to explain in detail, especially when I ask a lot of people, they are not very sure about what are the differences between why there are two names for the same currency. Are they the same thing, or are they talking about different things? So again, this video, I'll give you a very detailed explanation. Hopefully you can benefit from my video. And if you like my video, I really look forward to your kind support to subscribe so that I have the motivation to provide more wonderful finance video to help your career or your business decision. Now, so again, today, this video is to talk about the difference between CNY and CNH. So I'm quite sure you heard about renminbi or CNY. You also heard about people referring to the same currency as CNH. So why there are two names for this? Now, if you bring this same renminbi $100 or 100 renminbi from China to overseas through legitimate way, for example, you carry in your wallet, you go overseas for a tour. So this money, same piece of money, the name will change from CNY to CNH. Why? Because there is currency control in China. Any outflow of renminbi from China to overseas through a legal method, immediately the same amount of money can only be backflow in China through legal method. You cannot remit the money without any objective, without any purposes back into China anymore. So if you use this currency to deposit in a Chinese bank like ICBC, Bank of China overseas branch, and you instruct the bank, say, I want to remit this renminbi back to China. If you maintain an account in China, the bank will say, sorry, we are not able to do so because of the currency control in between set up by the Chinese government. So the same currency, renminbi, that is used globally outside of China is called CNH. The same currency that used inside China is called renminbi, CNY. And these two group of currency, they are not allowed to interflow, meaning they cannot flow out without any restriction, neither can they flow in without any restriction. So there are a lot of restriction, currency control. And why Chinese government or China implement currency control? Again, this is another complicated topic that if you are interested, I'll talk in another video. So for this video, my main purpose is to use pen and paper, my usual style, to guide you all through this whole concept. Again, my main objective is to teach you all this thing as an ex-banker, ex-central banker. So I didn't spend a lot of time trying to beautify my video. I hope you all can understand. I'd rather put more effort to teach you all. Now, if you look at the first slide, I put on the CNH. CNH, this represent those renminbi that are being used overseas, not in China. So this refers to that pool of money outside of China. You might ask, why CNH? So CN is a standard code by international standard organization. So like I believe you have heard about ISO 9000, ISO 9001, ISO 9002. So again, they set a code for China is CN. That's why they use CN. But why H? H represent Hong Kong. because the first batch of the renminbi that Chinese government allowed it to outflow to satisfy the international needs for renminbi for international trade settlement, business transaction originated, or the first batch came through Hong Kong. That's why they put the word H. Of course, now Chinese government has do a lot of swap agreement. Swap meaning that Chinese government will give renminbi to a foreign government. Foreign government will give their own domestic currency to Chinese government. This is called a swap arrangement, and then later will swap back at an agreed rate. So this is to allow certain currency within a currency controlled country to flow outside of the country to satisfy their needs, because you want to pay in renminbi, you want to buy things, you want to invest, so you need some renminbi floating outside of China. So that's the reason why there's some outflow. So to recap what I've told you, I give you another slide. So from this slide, you can see the CNY is all used in China, and those currency, same dollar printed by Chinese government that happen to flow outside of China is called CNH. So now you know the differences. This is the major differences, and of course why they do this is because Chinese government, China, want to maintain a currency control to ensure certain stability within their internal system. Is it right or wrong? Is it against the free? This one is another topic. Again, there are reasons for them to do so, and from experience, from how they have grown so far, it worked to their benefit. That's why benefiting to the local economy, local people, the government will definitely do something to make sure that their local economy and local people benefit in the long term. And China has proven everybody that they actually emerge as the second largest economy in the world in the shortest time period possible. Now, to go deeper, to give you even deeper understanding of the differences in these two, the name but same currency. Now, if you look at the first one, I classify it under location. So CNY or renminbi are those currency that circulate in China, within China. And those that happen to flow outside of China is called CNH. So this is used in a global arena. And control, now in the local renminbi, they are being controlled by the Chinese government. So they actually manage them. They supervise, they make sure that the circulation, they also ensure liquidity in the market. But for the global one, the control is done by global demand and supply. So when there's higher demand than supply, you can see the rate going up. You can see if there's less demand than supply, the rate will drop. Now, coming back to, I mentioned rate meaning FX rate. So in this case, the renminbi in China is managed, is controlled, is supervised, but the FX rate floating for CNH overseas, outside, is decided by the market forces, which is the demand and supply. How about liquidity? Liquidity, again, all the usage of CNY and renminbi are used in China, but CNH are only used solely outside of China. There's no way they can backflow unless for legal method approved by PBOC or SAFE. These are two central bank related entity. And again, the procedure of sending money back to China and sending money out of China is another topic. If you are interested, if you are keen, let me know in the comment section. I will do another video. Now, come to this stage, maybe a lot of people will ask, okay, now we know that they are the same kind of currency. Okay, there's one batch is being used in China, one batch is being used in outside of China, and we know why they do so. So how much renminbi is currently floating outside of China? So you look at this slide. This one is from, you can get it from a lot of reports, like Bank for International Settlement. They release a lot of reports. So if you read through a lot of this report, you can get this number. Now globally, there are about 2 trillion renminbi floating outside of China right now, floating. And in terms of FX trade, it constitutes about 7% of the global FX trade right now. That's for the renminbi. So you can see, you can roughly know that, oh, now I know there are about 2 trillion renminbi now floating outside of China. Maybe your next question would be, hey, if that's the case, is renminbi now a major currency that dominate the global payment system? The answer is no, not yet, but the demand and the pace are increasing. So the importance of renminbi is escalating, and because of China emerged as the second largest economy, because of all the tariff, because of a lot of de-dollarization, because of a lot of tension. Again, all these things will be a separate topic. But again, let's come back to the usage of renminbi in the global payment system. Now, this figure again is from a report issued by a lot of world organizations like the World Bank, United Nations, Bank for International Settlement. You can get this number. Now, currently, US dollar dominate the global payments system. That means out of all the payments, the transaction, 50% are being quoted in US dollar. Euro is used by more than 10 European countries. It's a common currency, so they are 20% of global trade right now. How about renminbi? Renminbi right now is only 4%. But like I mentioned, the importance of renminbi logically should go up because of de-dollarization, the tension between USA and other many countries like Canada, Europe, and all these things. So the demand for US dollar logically would reduce, and the demand to price their own product in their own currency, and in this case renminbi for China, will definitely go up. So the trend is other currency domination in the global payment system will definitely on the uptrend. So it's all because of the latest geopolitical development in the world economy. So the last question, maybe I produced 2 more slides to let you all have a global comparison. Now, in economies always classify the flow of money using 3M. Okay, so it's M0 meaning only cash, nothing else. M1 meaning cash plus deposit in a banking system. That's M1. And M2 is cash plus deposit plus all the liquid financial asset. So this M2. Now, if you look at the M2 comparison globally, using US dollar as a common benchmark for comparison, for end of 2025, China already reached 50 trillion. Wow. So US dollar 23 trillion, and Eurozone, or the Euro dollar add together is about 20 trillion, slightly lower than US, and Japan is 10 trillion. So you might ask, how come China is ranked number 2 in world economy, but yet the M2 ranking, how come it's higher than US dollar? This is also because of the high saving rate in China. As you know, M2 means cash, deposit, and liquid asset. Those assets that you invest in stock and bond does not include in M2. It has to be very highly liquid asset that when you sell, the price will not be significantly different. So for stock and bonds are not included in M2. So for this, because there's currency control in China, there's no limited way for the renminbi to outflow from China into the international market. And also the saving rate among Chinese individual corporates are very high. So that's the reason why in terms of M2 ranking, China ranked number 1. So I hope that gives you a very clear explanation of why, despite the fact that China is number 2, but yet China is ranked number 1 for M2 ranking. So now back to China domestically. Let's focus back into China itself. So because this is linked to this will enhance your understanding of CNH and CNY. So you might ask, okay, now I know what's the difference between CNH and CNY. So how much renminbi are there in the whole system, in the China system? So again, let's use M0, M1, and M2 as a tool to present this, because this is what used by the economists. So if you look at the total renminbi being printed, MO meaning all the cash being printed, there are around 13 trillion renminbi being printed right now. So this is in cash, hard cash. So include your notes, your coin, and all this. Now, if you include deposit into the calculation, which is M1, then the total circulation of renminbi is about 110 trillion. Then you might ask, how come cash only 13 and now M1 become 110 is about 8 times bigger? Again, this has got to do with multiplier effect in economy. The same $1 can be used many times. It can be rolled over 10 times, 8 times. This has got to do with propensity to save, propensity to consume. And again, this will be another topic for finance and economic terms. So again, I won't elaborate in this short video. And if you look at the third one, M2, which is a wider spectrum to cover more things, then China is 320 trillion in size. Now, all this, I do all this just to give you a very clear macro, micro view about renminbi. And of course, important thing is to let you know the same currency are being called two names. Those outside of China is called CNH. Those inside of China is called CNY or renminbi. Now, I hope you have a very thorough understanding now about why there are two names being called used at the same currency. So the next question, or maybe you all will ask, if this is the case, are there any differences in the yields or in the return generated by the same currency but being used in different location? Yes and no. I mean, if theoretically, because of arbitraging, there shouldn't be any differences. So if there's any price differential between the local renminbi and the offshore renminbi, which is called CNH, then speculator investor will come in, the demand and supply will push the two yield or the interest rate into a same point equilibrium. So, but because there is currency control in China, this same currency, they don't mix with each other. Okay, they cannot flow in, out freely. So in reality, there are differences between the deposit rate or the yield of CNH as compared to CNY. Generally, from observation, a CNY deposit rate is generally higher, but it's not guaranteed. It's all depend on demand and supply. Currently, local renminbi generate higher deposit rate than overseas CNH. But sometimes it's a reverse. So again, it's just a general observation recently, but it's not guaranteed. Again, this one is fluctuating, depend on demand and supply. Likewise for the FX. So again, I hope this video, which I presented in English, help you to understand fully why same currency is being called two names. And I hope you benefit from my video. So if you like my video, I hope you can subscribe and give me more motivation so that I can produce a more interesting video to help your financial knowledge, to help your business decision. Okay, thank you very much. See you again.